Okay.
Okay, well, thank you. Yeah, great to see everybody. And thanks to Sharon for putting the storyteller review together and bringing us all together. As you know, Sharon's uh doesn't have very good connection, so I'm going to start with the poem that she sent to read tonight. Um, a love poem, but it's a sad one. Bedtime snack. She melts the marshmallows and the chocolate pieces in the pan with the peanut butter as he watches her stir with the spoon and then take a taste and give one to him and then wipe the chocolate off his chin. Then she wheels him to bed. He is glad she kept the kids from sending him to that sterile place with a bed and a sink, remembering their parents trying to separate them. Too young. Now the kids, too old. Do you remember our song? She asks as they cuddle in bed, and he smiles as Sonny and Cher sing, You Got Me, Babe. Years later, they find them lying under covers, her head on his heart, as if she was listening for his heartbeat, and hers stopped as soon as his did.
Oh,
Really beautiful.
that's beautiful.
Excuse me being so forceful here. Should we all mute when someone else is
I
reading?
think it's a great idea,
Yes.
Neil. Yeah, why don't we all do that? And then it'll be easier. And so tonight, Gary, Mary, and Neil are going to read their love poems and share their stories with us. So I just went in the order that, and then if people want to read a poem afterwards, you're welcome to. Um, so we'll start with Gary. I just went in the order of the names as they came across from Sharon's email. Um, Gary's the professor emeritus of animal ecology at the University of Georgia, and he has poems and fiction and essays in many literary reviews, Streetlight, Verse Virtual, Sheila Nagig, McQueen's Quinterly, and many others. His poetry and short fiction have been nominated for a Pushcart and Best of the Net, and his poetry books, Lyrical Years came out from Kelsey, and What I Meant to Say Was by Inspired Press, and you can find them on Amazon. There was a couple things I didn't know about Gary that I thought were really cool when he sent this. For 10 years, he wrote Ask Dr. Trout column for the American Angler magazine, which must have been really fun. And then he's written, in addition to his other writing, he wrote a 2023 graphic memoir called My Life in Fish, One Scientist's Journey. And he also wrote a gourmet venison cookbook called A Bone to Pick. So you can learn more about Gary at his website. And Gary, you might as well, when you finish reading, just stick your website in the chat, and that'll be the easiest thing. So take it away, Gary.
Hey, let me just drop the website in the chat. Unfortunately, I have to leave at about 7:45, but we may be all done by that time.
Yeah, we said about 10 minutes for each of the featured
Right.
speakers, and then
Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen and can you all see the picture?
not yet, but here we go.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm just gonna keep that up as I read. I
Gary, wait a minute. Now mine shows, I think
It's gone again.
your desk your
really
desktop.
okay.
So
Okay.
go back to your picture.
That that shouldn't have happened actually, because well, I'll tell you what. I'm just gonna share this, and it has the picture.
Oh,
So
here
here,
we
this
go. There's the
picture
picture.
was taken. Ooh, 1977, maybe early 1978. And that is my bride. And here we are in 2022. So still smiling at each other and the camera. Uh, we have kind of an unusual story. So we met in September of 1977 when Barbara moved into our shared house. It was a house that I shared with two other workers at the Davis Food Co-op, and it was a 4-bedroom house, so we were looking for a fourth roommate, and Barbara ended up being that roommate. So in our 40 plus years of being together, we have never lived apart, which is kind of interesting. In 1980, we got married, and we have 2 kids, a 32-year-old daughter who's a surgical veterinarian, and our younger daughter is 28 and has a master's in neuroscience and is doing brain imaging research right now. So these poems are a mixture of old poems and new poems. I have always wondered why pregnant women snore so much. Awakened at 2 a.m. by shaking walls while she still sleeps. But surely it's exhausting to share your air and blood with someone else. The next poem is titled Reflections on Painting the Kitchen. 2 kids, 2 cars, careers, too much sometimes. I wanted poplar green, but you held fast. Now, when the sun crowns the corrugated fields above our home, it coats the room with streams of amber. Can't shake 'em loose, won't slide off. I let their belly-warm glow seal my every jangling corner. So though I doubted yellow, with your help, I've learned the kindness of the color. Those were poems. This poem I've always wondered was published in the mid-90s when I started sending work out. And a few years later, this poem on painting the kitchen. And then these last 2 poems are sorry, I'm not used to this version of words. So going out. All right. So going out to a movie during COVID. Year 2 of the plague. A February evening with coats and scarves to fend off the violet cold pack of dusk. I sport a blue Oxford cloth shirt and khakis, and you, a slinky emerald wool dress and heels. For a year, our outer skins have been pajama bottoms and tees, and it feels as if we have morphed into the snow moon illuminating the corners of a colorless night. Perhaps clothes don't make the man or woman, but I feel as if normality was slowly repainting my torso. I reach for the cool brass knob of the front door, but quickly turn, draw you close and say, let's kiss before we leave. A look of surprise, then your lips part slightly and our tongues braid a necklace of linked lives. You take a tissue from your purse and reach up, wiping a streak of scarlet from the corner of my mouth, then say, I'll have to redo my lipstick. And then this next poem is titled The Quiet. Rising before the sun, I leave the bed softly, my besheret unstirred. Then tread across our slate blue Spanish floor, its breath unseen in the dark. Every day yields thin sheets of happiness to be separated and held lightly by their bequests. And the hour before dawn is a silk jacket, if you choose to extend your arms. I make the coffee, pouring hot water over grounds dark as burnt oak. It is a slow dance in the unlight, requiring patience and steady hands as dawn tries to climb into our eastern kitchen window. The coffee rested, I pour a cup and return to bed, pillows propped up against our white-worn headboard. My wife shifts. Her right leg now sleeps against mine as I sit, drinking black coffee in the almost morning. So thank you. And I used a word, besheret, that some of you might not know. And that's a Yiddish word that means beloved, or in some cases, chosen one, like the person that was chosen for you. So thank you. And I will stop sharing, and I hope you enjoyed those.
Thanks a lot, Gary. Yes. And your story as well. Okay, Mary, do you want to go next and tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about you and maybe something interesting that we don't even know?
Okay. Well, I'm a retired registered nurse, and that was actually my second career. At first, I was studying art and then switched to English literature. And I was a graduate student on my way to getting my PhD and decided I had had enough of academia and left for another profession that was very different. Decided to be a nurse and go to nursing school. I met my husband right before I graduated nursing school. We were doing our evening shift, still as student nurses, and we went out to a neighborhood bar after the shift, and that's where I met my husband. He had just been working at one of the last open steel mills in Pittsburgh that was still operating, and it subsequently closed after that. But that was how we met. Okay, and these poems are about our relationship, but also about love in general. The first one is called Choices. I found some things called love were best avoided, like the sweet-faced liar who robs you blind and leaves you behind disposable as a used tissue, or the one you pick up like a bad rash that blisters and torments and never heals, or the handsome stranger who puts his mark on you, deep and obvious as a cattle brand. I would not be caught by love in crooked definitions, not kept in a closed room or on a short leash, not loved in teaspoons or inch by inch, but with a blueprint or by the book, not with requirements to recite a catechism or rehearse a script, but wait for you to come to me freely with an open hand and no great expectations. I would be perfection or carry your salvation or do more than meet you here in the open where we both can stand. Okay, this next one is something that happened during graduate school. And during that time, I didn't date. I wasn't really open to a relationship in any way. And this whole thing happened as quite a surprise to me. It's called To the Unexpected Lover. We all have limits. When you asked me to lunch, you told me you had loved me for years, since a class we both took in another time, another place. I was taken by surprise. I didn't even remember you, and I didn't know what to do with your ardent declarations. We spent that whole day together. You were so wild, a risk taker, amped up with drugs, ready to throw all your money at my feet, pulling hard for me to join you in a dream I didn't recognize. Your excess, your intensity was incandescent, terrifying, and I was not kind. Refusing you. Sorry. Sorry, and I was not kind, refusing you absolutely to save myself from your extremity. That's kind of a commentary on romantic love that can be set itself up as all absorbing and really it could swallow you alive and leave you nowhere. I mean, this was a relative stranger who said that, he had been in love with me for years. I didn't remember him. Scared the hell out of me. Okay, and this one is about my husband. Until you, I was the girl in the thorn hedge, the nun in a narrow cell, the lady in a stone tower, until you came in fine and sharp as a chisel, opening my careful walls of horn and bone, where I sat dark and wordless, so long a recluse I had forgotten speech. You rocked me out of my long sleep with one touch, a call answered in every nerve and sinew, filling the sky with music like heat lightning, rising from the cradle of our embrace, where we played our sweet improvisations, our bodies untethered, singing a jazz riff, all heat and light and endless, passionate invention. And this last one sort of says it all. Soup and bread. What would you taste like? Something stubborn to the tooth, not succulent, but rich, strong, sustaining, something to chew on for a long time, to keep you going, even on the driest desert trek. No sweet gift from heaven, pale and innocuous as manna or thin communion wafers, something more like your mother's janina, that dark and solid peasant soup that takes both fruit and fresh duck blood to build its full intensity. I'm sure you would be salty, abrasive as raw language on the tongue, the necessary antidote to any liar's sweet confections that melt so quick and leave you sick with too much sugar. You'd taste like wood smoke and firelight, like early morning fog. You'd turn to me like tree leaves, lifting their silver undersides to welcome rain. You'd bring the spice to liven any dish, sharp as pepper, warm as nutmeg, so good you don't need much to reach perfection. You are the leaven to my ordinary bread, the one essential that needs no more than warmth and sweet intention to rise and fill and satisfy the oldest ache I know. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Those are really, really lovely, really honest, and the full range, huh? Somebody said somebody was trying to get in the waiting room, but I can't see the waiting room right now. Jim, can you see it? You're probably
I don't see
muted.
anyone in the waiting room.
Okay. Well, we'll just keep rolling then. So our last feature speaker reader is Neil Creighton. I wanted to, I did because I didn't know what we would be doing, go to Neil's website, and I just want to read you this lovely thing that he writes on his um on his website on the front. He says, I love beauty and the beauty of language. I write in a lyrical style that is clear and understandable. I write about a lot of different things. The places and animals of my native Australia are important to me. You can find some examples in Earth Music available on the website as a free download. I am also intensely interested in areas of social justice. Indigenous issues form part of this. The environment and relationships are also fundamental concerns. So go ahead, tell us a little more about you, Neil, and then read for us.
Oh, okay. Hi, everyone. Thanks for this chance to read. I'm Neil Creighton, most of you know, and I live about 60 k's northwest of Sydney, Australia, and I'm very pleased to be in the Global Village. I've been married for 52 years. And it's been great every year, every month, every day. So I'm going to do some screen sharing now and read some poems as we go. So let's see how we go here. I think that's it. And I'll do from the beginning. There's all kinds of weird things happening here. Slideshow from beginning. Oh, yes. This is the first poem I ever had published. And I'll just say a little bit about it. It's 3 stanzas, 12 lines in each stanza, very formal rhyming pattern, A, B, C, D, E, F, all the way through, mostly pentameters. And I use lots of adjectives because I want a sense of lushness. And just because it's the first time you're hearing this, maybe, um, each stanza has a slightly different, or quite a substantially different focus. The first is on big issues, sun, moon, stars, wind. The second is on the animal kingdom. And the third is on a man and a woman, my wife and myself. So here it is, earth music. An intricate, richly sensuous tune this tactile, perfumed earth sings. And to the song of sun, sea, and moon, all creation its own harmony brings. The lover sun holds earth in his arms. The insatiable sea caresses the shore. The night is besotted by the moon's charms, and everywhere is the cry for more. Flowers willingly open for honey bees. Clouds are the vaporous water's embrace. And with the earth and sea, the insistent breeze communes as if face to face. Thus, every creature is entranced by the music that around them flows, and caught up in this harmony dance patterns each intuitively knows. All these are creatures of the dust, caught in earth's scent and song, singing and dancing in the way they must, patterns of desire to which they belong. Whether in stealth, danger, or death, in grace, beauty, or fluttering need, in savagery or urgent stress, all play in earth's rich symphony of seed. So, you and I, who smell the perfumed air, are caught and enfolded by this song, and to its great pattern and desire, our lives in close union belong. The sounds ringing with rich complexity, melody upon melody entwine, and tenderness, love, and fidelity in its high, clear, pure notes shine. Oh, my love, I, in this great world stand, surrounded by rich music of life, sustained in spirit, heart, mind, and hand by you, my partner, my joy, my wife. And there we are, 52 years ago, on our wedding day. Cute, huh? This next poem is it's called River, and once again it's about love itself, and the river is a kind of a metaphor for the journey of life, and the sea for what happens after life. But by the end, it sort of transforms from that to the idea of the all-consuming notion of love itself. So here it is, River. The current sweeps us along, past laugh and splash of free-running water, over falls that shout and plunge, alongside the red poppy fields, under green pendant willows, around curving bends and lazy meander towards, in the distance, the still, dark sea. Long ago, there was a morning filled with sunshine and birdsong. Somehow, wonderfully, You passed by. I reached out, felt your hand, and it closed on mine. Why? The body's desire, the mind's fear of loneliness, a beauty of need to love and be loved? Who can know? But every day sunlight caressed the waves, and every night the current filled with silken sheen from moon and star. We are closer now to the rumbling confluence where river protests to the sea. Does that matter? Long ago, our deep union consumed me, took me way out beyond sheltered cove or stagnant stillness, deep, deep into a trackless wonder, into mighty waves of beauty and joy, deep troughs of compassion for heartache and pain, a pure, sublime tide far beyond self. There I have richly dwelt. There, in wonder and surrender, I have willingly sunk and drowned. I'm getting emotional here. The next poem is called This Passing Day, and it looks at time, I suppose, and the relationship, but in the end it sees time not as something to be uh, fearful of, but as a great celebratory thing. So, this passing day. It seems to me that the brittle bright morning when we first loved was a glistening shimmer of dewdrop. All the world's wealth was ours. Time seemed held in fragile crystal stop. Now it is late afternoon. The sky is clear, and the sinking sun more intensely beautiful than it was long ago. Who can know if night will suddenly fall, or days stretch on past midnight in muted, dimming, surreal twilight? No matter. Each transient moment is rich with joy, and passing time has been our strange friend, gifting us a plaited golden cord that twists and entwines, tying us to each other and to the present, the past, and the unknowable future. So come, take my hand. That fragile morning is long gone. Evening must fall, but the stars promise light. We have lived and loved together, shared in glory throughout the long passing day. Is this not enough? It must be enough. It is much more than enough. And here are 4 of those twisted golden strands. I'm really getting carried away here. I've got to objectify a little bit more. Here they are as young people. Our eldest is now 50. So there you go, this passing day. The next poem, 2 short poems to finish. I'm getting very emotional here. I wrote this one called I Know for a present, birthday present for my wife. And it's one of those ones which shows, I don't know, my love of the sound of language, the rhyming patterns and the rhythms of it. So there's 4 stanzas. I know. I know you are a gift from God, and you were wondrous fair. Your lovely eyes, your tender lips, your silken cascade of coal-black hair. To your soft touch, the waves lap close and tumble over my head. In ecstatic joy and deep embrace, you take me to your bed. My greatest joy is beyond compare. The chord which does most bind, the relentless chime of tangled time ties me in unity to your mind. Years have passed, and lips do fade, but love has wondrously grown, more dear to me, still marvellously, my gift from God alone. And that photo was taken 8 years ago after we'd just done a 120k walk in Western Australia, Cape to Cape walk, a long and hard walk on soft sand. And on the day after we finished it, we were driving along, and I noticed these flowers, West Australian wildflower called Leschenoltia, and makes a pretty nice photo, I think. And the last poem is called Come, Hold Me. Come, hold me, for the world is so mixed, so contrastingly, proportionally fixed, pain flooded, beauty buoyant, achingly sad, fleetingly joyous, poignantly littered, pathos strewn, touchingly tender, savagely hewn. For under this blue, beauty-laden sky we laugh, labour, mourn and sigh, seek answers to an unknowable why, see much to make the tender heart cry. So hold me, make all seem bright, tenderly grant me your sweet respite, bathe me in your wonder and light, momentarily wash away the night. Thank you, everyone.
Those are so beautiful. And the way you read them, especially, Neil. Thank you so much. Oh, I think we all got a little emotional, probably, not just you. Um, so I guess let me put this on the gallery view again. And are there folks who would like to read a poem? Maybe a love poem? But okay, let's start with Rosemary and then Rachel. And then Ellery. Let me write them down. Rosemary, Rachel, Ellery. Do we have others? Jim, Marianne, Shoshana.
Think that's my husband Ethan who raised his hand.
Oh, okay. We got Ethan
Word
too.
guy, yeah.
Alrighty. Gotcha. Anybody else? Okay, and I'll round it out at the end. Okay. Rosemary, you ready?
Okay. I'm ready. And even though it might not at the beginning sound like it, but this is a love poem. How to prepare for my final flight. First, let me fly. Ideally, my hand in your hand, one more time giving me warmth, my eyes fading into the cool blue pools of yours, your kiss and the promise that you won't be long. Still, I have a feeling that time is relative where I'm going. We'll not be discussing this, however, at least not now. I'll be taking my backpack and move over that eternal line. Will the weight be lighter now? Moving one waft at a time. I suppose I'll be wafting. It's not American football. As you know, I don't believe in the God the church made, but I wouldn't mind a bit of singing. There was the one song at my grandfather's funeral, but that's in German and only works if you understand the words. It's about going home after finishing work. My grandfather was a working man who wore working man's boots. I can still hear his heavy, tired tread on the wooden steps of the little house. So you choose your favorite, Janet Baker, even though I'm telling you that Maria Ewing would do. Still, it's your party. Invite your best friends, but try and love some of mine too. There will be a few who would like to listen to the arias. Once you have my ashes in a box, you won't sink so low as to put them into a personalized urn. Promise me to take them to the forest, any forest, to become perhaps a chumamela in one piece of the rainforest in Peru, a pine in the Spanish Sierra, or perhaps a birch in Finland or the German Alps. I would very much want what stays behind to become a tree. However, as I said, it's not my party. But I would love to be tall and gorgeous and able to give you shade. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Rachel, you're on.
Okay, this is a love poem, and it's kind of giving it away, but it's about a cat. Pouring myself into the sticky. You materialize at wall's edge, a single note interrogative. Erase yourself when our eyes lock. I starve. Mother's disappearance, you escaping Quebec, landed on my doorstep, a large voice. Thunder lights my broken. I starved, you were starving. Thoracic star, sign of a scooped out lung. How it foretold years ago, 3 pounds shiny, pink as a baby in stainless steel, equal to one voice's weight. You pour water over autumn's brittle. No, no more toes tapping the bathtub rim. But what of honey? I pour myself into the sticky. Wave-scrolled ribs revealed on beaches cover a limping rhythm. Shocked into submission, my heart beats. Ephemera. A poet's pulse wanders its own shingle. Glow in the dark like a gel pen. My yesterday grasping hands clutch a new tattoo. Hell yeah, it hurts. Grief bleeds into dermis beneath layered ink. Tonight, you are here. Those jade eyes streaming honey. Your claws grip wall's edge, catch my breath, and just then I see that your voice is a door.
Thank you, Rachel. Valerie.
Hello. I was going to read a love poem too, because I figured that was what everyone else was doing, but I had a wonderful surprise come my way about a week ago, and so I wanted to share that. Did I want to allow dictation? No. I had a poem published. It was my 4th poem accepted for publication back in something like 2006, I think. And it was published in a local journal, Kansas City Voices. I hadn't been brave enough to send out to publishers. I was a writer and editor my entire working career, but it was not in poetry. So I finally got enough courage to send something out, and they took this poem, and this was their 20th anniversary issue. So they asked me if I would allow them to run the poem again because it was everyone's favorite choice for the anniversary issue. So here goes. What happens? It's Istanbul, summer 2005. One by one, They follow the lead sheep off the cliff. Whether temptation calls, curiosity beckons, or obedience demands, they follow. No dog or wolf gives chase, snapping at tender parts. They just follow. No hesitation, no debate. 1, 2, 3, off to oblivion. 1,500 clouds slipping through the sky, hailing upon the rocks. The first, perhaps bravest, meeting hard death, but forming a pillowy welcome for those who follow, follow, follow. Thank you.
Thank you, Valerie. And this must be so fun to have something published 20 years later again. That's lovely. Let's see, Jim.
Okay, and I'm going to share my screen. You should be able to see that now. I love innuendo. So here's how to make love, a beginner's list. Step 1, start with a simple question meant only for yourself. What is it that attracts me so? Exclude all physical references because parts are parts and everyone has them. Find that answer and hold it carefully so it doesn't bruise or break or fly away. Step 2, another self-query. What would my heart feel if I put my hand on her cheek, brushed her hair back, and watched her eyes half close, her lips part in a rising smile? Pray that the answer is more than nothing. Step 3, place her hand over your heart so she knows she doesn't need to ask or answer anything. Let it rest there until she steps closer, puts her arms around you. Step 4, put this list away. It has served its purpose. Use it only if you wake one day and find you've lost the answers.
Wonderful, Jim. Your usual humor and not humor all together. Very nice. Let's see, Marianne.
Yeah. Okay. I want to read a different poem from what I thought. Well, no, I'm going to read the same poem I thought I'd read. But it's, thank you to everybody for reading. Thank you to Sharon and for organizing this. So let's log in. And this is my favorite love poem to read. Travels with the Gray Ghost, from when my husband and I lived in Indiana. Back then, we drove everywhere, even to Burrito Loco, the place on top of the hill we thought of as steep in our flat state of Indiana. Shifting gears on the incline, you drove the Gray Ghost up the shadowy street, space between, elsewhere's blotches of bright lights, the mall and chain restaurants, plants strung out on the south side of town, campus to the west, students wedged into Harry's. Its sound system blasted Nellie's Hot in Here all spring. Burrito Loco's jukebox was silent, maybe repossessed, maybe sold. I don't recall other customers as we talked over the grill's sizzle. Ghosts, even at this restaurant. Dark men must have sat near us. I didn't know their language. You might have tried out your Spanish, the way you did at Mexico Lindo, a restaurant bathed in bright light. But I remember Burrito Loco, our steak burritos, their beans and avocados as dark and soft as the night we clung to. By fall, we too would be gone. The Gray Ghost still parked on a pitch black street, still haunting this town. Thank you.
Thank you, Marianne. Okay, Shoshana.
Yeah. So I guess keeping with the theme, this is a love poem of sorts. It's titled Fat Spoons. In the face of calamity, we keep cupcakes. But of course, we're a prison guard to ask, what do I want for my last meal? I'd say chocolate chip cookies dunked in a bowl of milk, that chock-a-block hardness with the soft-baked surrender of buttery dough. I want to die with the taste of fudge on my tongue, which is my go-to whenever victory occurs or something bad saddens. It's grab the Bosco and pour. I try corralling my wants to only twice a week so I can still fit in my clothes. Then I spend 3 days planning what delectables I'll pounce on. An Elvis sundae from the custard stand, a croissant from Collectivo, a brownie at Bloom Bake. There was Barbie's mother running down porch steps, wiping hands on her apron to tell mine thank you for driving Barbie home, since I got brownies in the oven, said with batter on her lips. My shock deep-throated. Mothers baked in their own kitchens? Mine baking not a thing, although she did share her secret happiness, a glass of milk half full, Hershey syrup on the bottom, 2 fat spoons.
Well, maybe we should stop there and I'll go get some chocolate. Okay, Ethan. Thank you, Shoshana.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Thank you for your wonderful poetry. This is an old one. And Sharon was kind enough to reprint it, and people seem to like it. It's short. Well, you'll hear it. When my wife gave birth, she gave birth to cats. A feisty calico and a tabby who purred so long it about shook the world. I said, isn't something the matter? Don't most women give birth to human babies and not cats? She threw me a look, half glance, half glare, as if to say, what more did you expect? You who could never give birth to anything. In all likelihood, my wife and I will survive our children, leaving us lonely and alone to live out our days. Right, thank you.
Okay, let me go back to the gallery to see. Is there anybody else that I missed? Oh, go ahead, John. John, are you still muted?
Well, this is an old poem,
Okay.
predecessor to my Bangkok poems and before my love poems started. Night, Bangkok, rainy season 1971. Silence in its silver light pours across my garden wall through this monsoon break. A cloud-feathered frame of moonlight tipping airy sprays of orchid, jasmine, and hibiscus spilling flower to flower into shadow pool. Moon-filled potholes path the street with footlights, drawing me into the lane I came to live in hot season. And I'm sorry about that phone. Stillness drawing on the... I have no way to... That'll stop in a second. There. Stillness drawing on the pavement loosens sounds I've never heard, I've never seen. Behind a slatted wooden fence, small frogs chirp a lily pond. And as I pass a canary bird, well, this is awkward, isn't it?
Yeah, can everybody mute because we seem to have a little interference.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you over that, but you can see the poem anyway. Do you want me to finish it?
Yeah, why don't you? Sure, of course.
All right. Stillness drying on the pavement loosens sounds I've never seen. Behind a slatted wooden fence, small frogs chirp a lily pond. And as I pass, a chamois bird cries alarm in two voices.
Thank you, John. Let's see. Can you figure out how to unshare? There we go. Okay. Um, I'll read a short poem, and I changed my mind after hearing the all the chocolate and the food and everything. So, this is called Cake. We call it apple cake or apple chocolate. Sometimes blueberry apple chocolate. No recipe, just the notion not to waste 4 egg whites left over from making pasta. Loose and steaming as we barely let it cool, we'd devour it all at once, except we've learned, belying expectations. Tomorrow, the flavors will seep deep into one another, congeal like us, beyond naming, and long before it can turn stale, we'll savor every crumb. Okay, so did we get everybody who wanted to read? All right. Anybody want to say anything? Any news, any anything anyone wants to ask of our feature speakers or uh, anything
I
else?
just want to say it was a wonderful reading. I was happy. They were all love poems in their own way, and I enjoyed every single one of them. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Me too. I love them all. I even the giving birth to cats. They were all beautiful and such variety, and really enjoyed the evening. So
Yes.
I'm sorry I
thank you.
bumped out for a minute. I meant to hit the chat button, and instead I hit the leave meeting. I'm on my iPad, so
You're still here.
yeah. Thank you for letting me back in.
I just wanted to say thank you to the wonderful response I've gotten when Sharon shared my Can You Hear It poems. And I have gotten some absolutely lovely emails from you all. So thank you.
Absolute pleasure.
Yes,
They were
really.
wonderful poems.
Yes.
You know, I think if it weren't for Jim, we would not have met. I
No.
mean, because of Jim Lewis's, endeavor with the verse virtual, Sharon brought us all together, and I'm really grateful to both of
So am
you.
I. So
Me
am I.
too. Me
Yep.
too.
Yes.
Here, here.
Yes.
When Sharon brought me in, it was over chocolate and cats. I don't know what response I made to a comment she had posted, but then she wrote me. She said, I know we already like chocolate and cats. Can you send me some poetry? Glad both were represented tonight.
I'm probably the odd person out here because for me, the only cat I could stand would be a chocolate cat.
I don't have any pets, Jim. So I like other people's pets at their houses.
We don't either. My husband, the only pet he says he's willing to have is a moth.
That's the last thing I'd want.
When I had my kids, when they were small, we had all sorts of pets, even guinea pigs. And we had one hamster that disappeared in the house. We thought it would eat the house up because they're gnawing and gnawing and gnawing, but we never saw it again.
I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, but we don't have to leave yet if you don't want to.
I have to go
leave.
back. I
Yeah.
have to go back
Yeah,
to
I think
Lima.
probably most of us might need to go. But thank you so much for the, yeah, go ahead and stop the recording, Jim.